Okay, so I'm recording this session with Jordan. Jordan's like already a little embarrassed about that, but Jordan, thanks for helping us out here. As we walk through this thing, I'm going to bring up our musictheory.net. So Jordan, do you remember this, the lesson that I'd shared with you? I was trying to make the connection between written notes and the piano keyboard, right? Okay, and in that, the reason why I was showing the keyboard is because it shows this perfect layout of the whole steps and half steps. So you can see any combination of notes where there is no black key in between them, that becomes a half step. So this is a half step between these two notes because there's no black key. Here's another half step between these two white keys because there's no black key. Here's two white keys, they're next to each other, no black key. So would these two keys be a whole step or a half step?
Half step.
Half step, correct. Here's two white keys. They have a black key in between them. So would these two keys be a whole step or a half step?
Whole step.
Correct. Here's two white keys. Would they be a whole step or a half step?
Whole step?
Correct, a whole step, because there's a black key in between them, right? Here's two white keys. Are these two white keys a whole step or a half step?
Whole step.
Correct. So now you get that. Let me just go do a bunch of them. What are these two?
Whole step.
Good. And these two?
Whole step.
Good. And these two?
Half.
Correct. So now all we have to do is put letter names to these notes, and all of a sudden, this is going to make more sense for you. So, for instance, when I shared over here that there are two places where we have half steps that naturally occur. One of them is a B to a C. That's a half step. A B to a C is a half step. Say that.
B to C is a half step.
Correct. So on the piano keyboard, here is a B, here is a C. And if we always look to the left of the double black keys, we'll always find a C. So a B to a C is a half step. Say that again.
A B to a C is a half step.
Perfect. Now, an E to an F is the other one that we looked at on the keyboard here, an E to an F. An E to an F is a half step. You say that.
An E to an F is a half step.
Good. What is a B to a C again?
A half step.
Good. And an E to an F?
Half step.
Good. All of the other intervals between our notes, all of the others are whole steps. All of them are whole steps with two exceptions, and you just said them. What are our two exceptions again?
A B to a C and an E to an F.
Correct. So without me pointing at them again, what were those two exceptions again?
A B to a C and an E to an F.
Good. So what would a G to an A be? What? Too many letters. What is the interval between a G and an A? A whole step or a half step?
A whole step.
Good. What about a C to a D?
Whole step.
Good. And a D to an E?
Whole step.
Excellent. And an E to an F?
Half step.
Good. You're starting to get it, and you're really quick at it as well. What is a G to an A?
Whole step.
A to a B?
Whole step.
Very good. Now what I want to do then is go into our exercises, go back to our interval identification. And when we look at this, now you're doing the same thing that you just did. Remembering those two places that are naturally occurring half steps, right? So what are these two notes?
An A and a B.
Good. And that interval would be?
Whole step.
Good. And then we call a whole step a major second or a minor second?
Major.
Correct. So this is major second. Now, ignore the sign first. Don't look at the sign yet. What is this note?
An E,
And this note?
an F.
Good. Without that sign, what would that be? An E to an F.
A half step.
Correct. It's a half step. Now, when we look at the sharp is in this F space. A sharp does nothing more than raise a pitch by a half step. So if an E to an F is a half step, that you just identified it, now we're going E to F sharp. We're raising the F by a half step. This becomes
Minor.
well, and
No.
you already told me that an E to an F was a minor. It's a half step. Now we're going to raise the F by a half step. We're adding another half step into the interval, which turns the minor second into a
Major second.
major second. Do you see how that works? E to an F, minor second. E to F sharp, major second. Good. So this is a major second. Do you see why that is?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try another one.
Major second.
It is, yeah, same interval, isn't it? It's just up the octave. An E to an F is a half step. Raise the F to an F sharp, it becomes a major second. Good. Again, consider the notes without the flat sign. A C to a D is,
Oh. A whole step.
it is a whole step. A C to a D is a whole step. Now let's take a half step away because the flat lowers the D that's in front of the D. So now the D is lowered by a half step. So now we have a C to a D flat.
Minor second.
Correct. Yeah, because a C to a D is a major second. Lower the D by a half step, we get a minor second.
Major second.
Correct. Do you have that memorized now, or did you walk through E to F, half step?
I kind of have it memorized now.
Okay, so you can walk through that, right? An E to an F is a half step. Raise the F to an F sharp makes it a whole step. So major second, you were correct. You already have that one memorized. Name the notes for me. Every good boy does fine.
An F to a G.
Correct.
And major second.
Yes, because it's not a B to a C, which is a half step, or an E to an F, which is a half step. All others are whole steps. F to G, whole step, major second. You were correct. Name the notes.
A D to an E.
Good.
Mm,
It is a what?
Major second.
Correct. Think out loud for me.
A C to a D flat. And it's a minor second.
Correct.
An E to an F sharp. Major second.
Very well done.
A D to an E flat. Minor second.
Yeah, you're getting fast. Good.
A D to an E. Major second.
Ooh, look at you fly.
A D to an E. Major second. An E to an F. minor second.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was going to trip you up. Way to go. That's it.
A D to an E flat, minor second.
Yes.
An A to a B, major second.
Okay, so Jordan, what do you think? Does that make it a little more clear for you?
Yeah.
Good. So now what I will invite you to do is to go back and to retake that quiz and see how you do. You can go and practice it some more, and I bet it makes more sense. What do you think? Excellent. Okay, I'm going to stop.